Doctors' surgeries, a lot of people struggle to get an appointment with the doctor, and it looks like it may get harder to do so.
Yeah, that's right. GBNews can exclusively reveal this morning that since Labour came to power, over 80 surgeries have closed their doors. That's equivalent to one GP surgery closing every single week. How can we
deal with that? How can we keep up with that? Let's speak to health commentator Thorrun Govind about this. Thorrun, we didn't think this was an issue. How come it is an issue? Why are they closing?
OK, well, I just want to delve into what that closing actually means. So that could be a merger with another practice, because that counts as a closure, even though those patients are being accommodated. But obviously practices are closing, and that can be due to recruitment issues. And we often see adverts, don't we, for rural areas looking for a GP, selling the benefits of that rural lifestyle to accommodate and encourage GPs to come and work in that area. I think in terms of access to healthcare, it's been busier. Activity's been busier since COVID, and we know that people, when individually may be struggling or feeling like they're struggling to access GP appointments, but obviously we're part of a bigger system when you're in a practice, and they are dealing with huge numbers of patients.
Are we seeing a shortage of GPs then? Do we need to start hiring more of them?
Well, the government have been on a recruitment drive, but also when it comes to NHS morale and staff morale in general, we know that the workforce is struggling through burnout and other issues as well. The number of GPs has fallen compared with 2015. There is a lot of rhetoric about GPs working what people call part-time, but I think we need to recognise that actually they're very busy, and those part-time hours that we would call often equate to a very busy schedule, and it's not just about clinical appointments that GPs are having to deal with. There's a lot of administrative work as well. There's a lot of other people who work in GP practices as well, and we're dealing with an ageing population, more chronic disease, and the backlog from COVID is still there.
Yeah, but Thorrun, people like you are still there. Now, by profession, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're a trained pharmacist, yeah?
Yes, and that's another point, because as well as access to GPs and people maybe feeling that they're struggling with that access, that access, people go to other services as well. We know that people are going to A&E when they perhaps don't need to do so. So there's a lot about care being provided in the right place. But also some of the common challenges that are facing our whole high street are just as impacting our GP surgeries and our pharmacies as well, albeit our pharmacies are not quite funded in the same way.
OK, Thorrun,
is there any good news about anything?
Well, you can go to your pharmacy as well, it is worth saying, isn't it? We're talking...
Yeah, but there's only a limit to what they can do as well. And it's always like, oh, don't go and see a doctor, go and see the pharmacist. And it's just, I just find, Thorrun, it's just more and more stuff being lumped upon chemist shops.
Well, we're very busy. We're clinically trained. We are supporting more and more people. We've got that fantastic Pharmacy First scheme in England, so supporting people with things like shingles, that sort of thing. But yes, we do need support from patients.
Yeah. So much to talk about, Thorrun. Good luck to you in what you do anyway. Thank you very much indeed for shedding a light on what is going on there at the moment. Thank you very much, Thorrun Govind. I can remember being a kid. You just picked up the phone, you phoned the doctor, and the doctor came to the house.
Yeah, and they'd know you by name. I remember very early childhood memory of the family doctor, and they all knew your name, the name of your siblings, your parents, what your parents did. Yeah. And now I don't think I see the same doctor. Well, if I can get an appointment, I don't ever see the same doctor.
Where did it all go wrong?
Every time you're online, your money and your identity are at risk. Scams now make up nearly 40% of all crime in the UK. That's thousands of attacks every single day. In Britain, someone has their identity stolen every 2 minutes, leaving victims with wrecked finances and years of stress. The threat is real, and you could be next. ExpressVPN is your shield against criminals. It locks down your devices, hiding your personal information and financial details from hackers, scammers, and anyone else looking to exploit you. So whether you're checking your bank, shopping, or just browsing, ExpressVPN makes you invisible to prying eyes trying to steal your money and your identity. ExpressVPN shields your data with military-grade AES 256 encryption. That's the same standard trusted by the US government to guard classified information. This is the highest level of online security you can get. So don't wait for disaster. Secure up to 14 devices at once and get powerful password protection. Real support is available 24/7 because cybercrime never sleeps. Click the link in this video's description or scan the QR code to get up to 75% off ExpressVPN plus 4 months extra for free. Every moment you hesitate is another moment you're exposed. Protect your money and protect your identity. Get ExpressVPN right now.
Lib Dem health spokesperson. We've now got Helen Morgan who can talk to us now. Helen, good morning.
Good morning.
Well, what do you think about the inflation figures?
Well, I think that's good news, but it's long overdue, isn't it? I spent yesterday in the constituency meeting with businesses. They feel quite bleak about the future. They feel that the jobs tax has caused them a lot of problems. They're struggling to recruit in some instances. I think there's a lot of gloom out there about the economy. So this will be, a slither of welcome news. But we need to see the Chancellor do much better on supporting our businesses.
Well, it comes after those figures yesterday about unemployment, the highest figure in almost 5 years at 5.2%. How do we fix that and why is this happening? Why are so many people out of work?
I think the jobs tax is a big part of that, to be quite honest with you. Local businesses tell me they just haven't been replacing people when long-serving employees have retired, for example, and they're particularly nervous about taking on young people who they've got to train up. They cost a lot of money now, and they're worried about them leaving after they've been trained. So I think the jobs tax has been devastating, and I think there were other ways in which the Chancellor could have raised that money. We suggested a number of different options to try and raise money to invest in the NHS, for example, and the Chancellor instead went for this jobs tax, which has been devastating.
Helen, I'm going to talk to you about the NHS just after I ask you this. You talk about jobs and how expensive they are for young people, and that's because there is a parity in wage rates between young people and old people. There are rumours, there are talks that the government may do away with that parity. In other words, young people would be paid less, but they would be more attractive to employ as a result. What's your take on that?
Do you think it's the jobs tax that has been a bigger factor for employees than the minimum wage? And partly because when you take on a young person, they don't have the experience, so you're paying an awful lot for them. The tax is just going to the government. You're not getting any direct benefit from it. And you have to train them up as well. And lots of young people, obviously, they haven't decided what they want to do with their career yet. So they have a higher turnover. So I think the jobs tax has been a bigger issue for employers, certainly.
Should we talk about the NHS? There's a GBNews exclusive story out today that you may have seen, which is evidence we found that one GP surgery has closed every single week since Labour came into office. What is happening here? Why are they closing? And how do we fix this?
Well, it's absolutely shocking that GPs are closing because we think the whole NHS needs good access to primary care to stop people turning up at A&E unnecessarily because they can't find anywhere else to go, and just to be able to, not worry about getting help when they need it. The closure of a GP practice every week is an absolute failure by this government. Liberal Democrats think that we should invest more in GP services, that we should, through recruitment and retention, give ourselves 8,000 more GPs. That's a big target, and it would take a while to get there. Reopen rural surgeries where they're most at risk of closure, and make sure that people can access the primary care that they need. We know that it's a top issue for most people. That 8 a.m. scramble or that long wait for an appointment really causes a lot of hardship.
Now, Helen, the Lib Dems have asked for a Freedom of Information request and some shocking replies in this. For instance, we've found that half of trusts are seeing an increase in the number of 24-hour waits last year. I mean, the figures here are awful for people not being seen straight away or not within a reasonable amount of time at hospitals.
Yes, so we found 112,000 people waited more than 24 hours in A&E last year. And there was one incident where somebody waited for 16 days in Surrey and Sussex Hospital. And those numbers are obviously unacceptable. We know that people are at much greater risk of dying if they don't get admitted when they need to within a reasonable period of time. And it's time, I think, that the government gripped this corridor care crisis. It's a disgrace. And we need to see investment in additional beds in the system so that people can be admitted to hospital when they need to be.
And Helen, just finally, before we let you go, just wanted to ask your thoughts on this really scathing piece by Daniel Finkelstein in The Times today that's saying that the Lib Dems have lost all direction. He asks, what is the point of Sir Ed Davey? He's essentially saying that your party is irrelevant.
Complete nonsense, if I'm being totally honest. We've set out a very clear strategy of saying that we need to be closer to our European partners on defence because Donald Trump is such an unreliable ally. We've said that we need to be closer with our European partners to slash that red tape and get the economy growing so that we're not always talking about tax rises. We're talking about investing in public services and making Britain more prosperous. I think we've done a really, really clear job of being clear on the NHS. Other parties seem to have vacated the field on Labour's failure on the NHS. So on the things that really matter, I think Liberal Democrats have been strong, we've been distinctive, and the local election results that we saw over the course of last year, both in May and in council by-elections, have shown that when people are casting an actual ballot, they've been casting them for the Liberal Democrats, and we're confident of doing well in the upcoming elections in May.
OK, thanks very much indeed, Helen, for speaking so frankly. Helen is the Lib Dem health spokesperson. We'll say thank you and goodbye to you.